Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno, the founder of Real Men Real Style, and today we're going to be talking about weight fluctuation and how to deal with it in men's clothing. All right, if you haven't, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking the button above. In addition, if you enjoy this video, if you find it useful, please like it below. It's really important to us. Lets me know if this video was useful and if I need to go deeper into the subject, and it makes us feel good too. So, all right. Well, the question we received is, what do you do when your weight fluctuates? Say a man starts building his wardrobe when he's 70 kilos, and then he gains a ton of weight for some reason and ends up at around 90 kilos. Naturally, his clothes wouldn't fit him anymore, and therefore the investment he made when he was 70-ish is rendered null until he loses the weight. Same goes for someone that starts off at about 100 kilos and goes on a diet exercise and ends up at around 70s. So what's the correct protocol here? How to deal with the weight fluctuation. Okay, so we threw out kilos, just double it for pounds. But basically what we're seeing is a wide shift in weight loss and weight gain. So I have a number, probably once a week I get a phone call. We've had a gentleman, let's say he was at 300 pounds, he's down to 220 pounds. Or we've got another gentleman, he's, when he was younger, football player, he was at 220, now he's up to, closer to 300. So when you have things like this is a huge weight fluctuation. If you do it as a percentage, we're talking about 25%, to 10%. Anytime you've got 10 to 25% body, shift, that's dangerous. So, the best advice, even though, it may not apply because you can't control it, is to keep your weight the same. Now, I fluctuate between 5 pounds summer and winter. I live in Wisconsin. It's hard to get outdoors when it's negative 30 outside, so I can't exercise as much. But overall, I try to keep my weight pretty stable because I understand it's just healthy. But I'm sure you know this, and your question, okay, is, Antonio, I understand this. What can I do about the clothing? Well, there's a reason why custom clothiers are in business, is because this is one of our best customers, is the man who has gained so much weight that his clothing will not fit him. And there's three reasons or three things you need to pay attention to when it comes to clothing and how you can get it adjusted. One, is there fabric in there? So if you gain probably, depends on your height, but every usually 10 to 15 pounds, you're going to increase a size. So if you gain 30 pounds, your suit jacket probably went up 2 sizes. And when this happens, you're going to be very limited. You're probably going to need a whole nother suit because there's not going to be enough fabric in the jacket to open it up. In addition, there's the issue with proportions. So, if I were to open up the jacket, is it going to look proportionally right? And actually proportions happen a lot more, or the limitations of proportions, whenever you're losing weight. Because technically, a guy could lose 100 pounds and I could take his jacket and make it fit him, but the pockets are going to be in the wrong place. It's just not going to look right. The lapels are going to be too large for his new body size. There's just going to be a number of issues that proportionally that jacket is not going to look right, and it's going to be a better investment for him to buy a new jacket. The last thing is going to be the skill of the tailor. So if you live in the middle of nowhere and you don't have access to a skilled tailor or a seamstress, you may have issues. On the other hand, if you've got someone who's got really great skills, it may cost you a pretty penny, but you can usually get them to make some really good adjustments to the jacket. But again, there are limitations with the clothing. I've heard of men who, throughout their lives, they know they're going to gain 50 pounds, lose 50 pounds. They actually have 2 sets of clothing, and they just put one in the closet. Again, I think this is really dangerous. If there's any doctors out there, maybe they can send me an email and tell me, a little bit, point me towards the research so I can send this to some of my clients. But no, seriously, I know not everyone can control this, and I'm dealing more with the clothing aspect, but there are limitations. It's an expensive fix, and the best advice is to try to find that weight in which it's the closest to where you're going to hover around, and make sure your clothing fits you for there. if you're going to err on anything, go with clothing that's maybe a little bit bigger, because it's always easier to make clothing a bit smaller than it is to make it bigger, especially shirts. Obviously, if there's no fabric in there, you can't make a shirt any bigger. But again, if you've got a big weight fluctuation, this is a hard fix and something that could end up being expensive for you. So I laid out a few options: having 2 sets of clothing, having access to a clothier that can adjust it. But when it comes to things like shirts or trousers or items in which there's going to be less fabric in there, you're going to find that you're probably going to have 2 sets. Okay, hopefully that answered the question. And if you enjoyed what you learned today, make sure to go to Real Men Real Style, because I've got tons of other articles there. In addition, we'll give away a free 47-page ebook, which I think you'll really enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.